I was not aware and did not see until this morning as I was doing our read-in that the Emmys even happened. Did you see? Did you know?
I only knew they were happening because my friend Nate Bargatze, the comedian, was the host. So I had seen that he had posted that he was going to be hosting them. I did not watch one single moment. I was traveling to get up to New York during the Emmys, but otherwise I would have had absolutely no idea.
I bring it up because, one, it's funny how much these award ceremonies now have. I remember when I was growing up as a kid, like the Oscars, for example, was absolute. Everyone watched the Oscars, and you were really rooting for a movie to win. And no one pays attention to this stuff anymore. But I'll tell you, the Emmy for Best Comedy Show went to Colbert, the canceled Stephen Colbert Show, who ruined a dynasty, who ruined a franchise. They gave him the award, and I just think it goes to how out of touch, deluded, and kind of defiant in their absurdity. I mean, why did he get the award? Because the narrative is that he was anti-Trump and some kind of an anti-Trump hero. So the fact that he was overpaid and his ratings stunk don't matter. And that just goes, though, to everything you see with their media now. They are unrepentantly, completely detached from reality.
I have not paid attention to the Emmys since they gave Andrew Cuomo the special Emmy in the wake of COVID. And then they pulled his special Emmy after he was accused of sexual harassment, not for sending everybody into the nursing homes. This did happen last night on the Emmys, though. This is someone named Hannah Einbinder or Einbinder.
Never heard of her before. Yeah.
I don't know who she is, but she won an award, and this is how she celebrated. I see it on the cut sheet here. Cut 3.
Finally, I just want to say, finally, go Birds, ICE, and free Palestine. Thank you.
That's like that right there. You know that this is a person who has honestly just like low IQ, low information voter, the most superficial and self-congratulatory nonsense that you could say in one's as the Birds thing. By the way, is that?
That's Eagles.
That's for the Eagles.
So that's the first one, okay. Like that.
I'm not trying to antagonize Eagles fans here. That's fine, but the rest of it, the bleep ICE.
They're 2-0. They got the big win over the Chiefs. But yeah, F ICE and free Palestine. And then afterwards, she's Jewish, and she said, "I just think it's important for Jewish people to speak out in favor of the eradication of Israel."
There are a lot of left wing Jews, unfortunately, who are deeply critical of Israel and give aid and comfort to Israel's enemies. I don't know what else to say. That's not when I was doing Middle Eastern studies 20 years ago on campus, there were a couple of Jewish professors who taught Middle Eastern studies, and they were rabidly anti-Israel. So this is not a new phenomenon that you could have somebody that is taking that position. But yeah, I don't even know who this person is. I didn't want to spend much time on it. For me, it was more just the fact that Colbert, it reminds me of when they gave the what is it? The Pulitzer was it the Washington Post for the Russia collusion reporting? Right? Wasn't it or the New York Times? It was one of them. I don't know.
I mean, the fact that they haven't pulled those awards is just.
But they're telling you who they are is the point. The point of Colbert's show was not to be funny and get ratings. It was #resistance. He did that. They overpaid him to do it, and now they give him awards for it. This is how the left-wing media ecosystem operates.
Oh, I mean, I think you should prepare yourself. I mean, he's been fired by CBS, and he's fired because his show is losing, I think they said $40 million a year. Prepare yourself. A left-wing media organization will pay Stephen Colbert over $100 million contract. Just prepare yourself for, to Buck's point, this is something that I think the right could do a better job of. There are lots of billionaires out there. You and I are fortunate. We've been able to make a living and a good living doing this. There are lots of people who struggle because they have politically unpopular opinions. I think the left does a way better job basically protecting and giving their advocates ability to make a living in media than the right does. Would you agree with that? That like there isn't like these...
The left takes care of their ideological warriors They get canceled. Remember Keith Olbermann, who, if you've seen on Twitter, by the way, is completely deranged.
Yes.
And has been for a long time, and shown us even more recently how deranged he is. He is somebody who, when he left MSNBC, or was really pushed out at MSNBC, remember he signed some preposterous deal with, I think it was Current TV at the time. This is going back a long time.
Al Gore owned Current TV.
And he never, that's right. And he never had more than a few thousand viewers at a time. And the whole thing was, but he was making some absurd amount of money to do that. My point is that the left takes care of their people, left-wing billionaires. Left-wing billionaires in this country, not just George Soros, there's a bunch of them. There's Reid Hoffman, there's others. They make sure that fringe and delusional voices are well paid, well funded, and well distributed, and that has a massive negative impact on our conversations nationally, really about everything. I would also just add right now, Clay, in the background, we've got CNN here in the office with us. Of course, Jeff Flake, he who was shouted at over the Kavanaugh thing, remember that? Jeff Flake and Gabby Giffords have written a piece together saying for an end to political violence. Well, our side, we're actually always opposed to political violence. We don't wait. And this, for me, from a lot of Democrats, has a hint of the call for ceasefire after October 7th to it. You know, something horrible happened. One person's responsible, maybe more. There might be co-conspirators, and I don't want to preclude that. But one person we know is responsible for the act. But for the encouragement of the ideology, for the encouragement of the demonization, no, this is a broad left-wing Democrat problem, and that they want to do this both sidesism drives me up the wall, and especially after what just happened. Notice, Clay, there's no accountability among people on the left for this. There's no sense that our rhetoric got overheated and crazy on this stuff. They just say, yeah, well, you know, it happens on both teams. And no, it doesn't, by the way. I can sit here and rattle off all the only thing that they will point to that has any real connection to Trump world is January 6th. And the only person who was killed on January 6th was a Trump supporter shot in the neck when she was unarmed. And, you know, that's it. This is the only thing that they can say. And I just feel like we can't play into their hands by pretending like this isn't a problem that needs to be confronted squarely on the Democrat side of things, because it is.
Yeah, and I think we can get into some interesting discussion on the celebration of Charlie Kirk's death. I don't know how you feel about this, but if you are a taxpayer-funded employee and you go on social media, certainly if you're an elementary school teacher, did you see the story, Buck, about I've got a 10-year-old, about the teacher.
We have people calling in, by the way, who have experienced what you're saying right now themselves. So we'll take those calls.
About the teacher who played the assassination of Charlie Kirk in his classroom and told the kids that Charlie Kirk deserved to be killed. I can't believe that's possible.
Let me point this out. There are two pilots who are now suspended. I'm not sure if they've been fired yet, for major airlines. You saw this? Who also were in the celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. I do not feel safe with someone driving an airplane with 200 people that I'm one of. I do not feel safe with a pilot who celebrates political assassination of an American. And I don't think that's a strange position to have at all. I don't want to be on that person's plane. I don't trust I don't think they're psychologically fit to be at the controls of a commercial jet.
I couldn't believe yes on that. Also, I couldn't believe the number of people who were in uniform posting videos celebrating Charlie Kirk being assassinated. I don't think you should be able to be a police officer. I don't think you should be able to be a member of our military. Our taxpayer dollars are funding you, and some of these guys in uniform are celebrating Charlie Kirk being murdered. And I've said this for a long time. People get fired up on First Amendment. In uniform at work, you shouldn't be, in my opinion, advocating for anything politically. This is an easy test. If I go to Walmart and I go through the checkout line and the person at Walmart says, hey, here's my opinion on abortion, when they're like checking me out for my food, no. You should be fired, right? If I go up to McDonald's and try to get a hamburger and the person taking the order says, meat's murder, maybe you should get a salad instead. you should be fired, right? In uniform at work, no one has the right to advocate for politics. And I don't even see political perspective on, hey, murder is good. I think you should get fired if you're at work and you're advocating. And if you're taxpayer funded, it's crazy to me. The number of people who have failed a basic test of humanity of, hey, is it okay to kill a dad if you disagree with him politically? There are tens of millions maybe of Americans right now who would say, yay, for that. I know they would celebrate if you or I got murdered. I mean, that's the reality.
Yeah, it is a basic test of humanity that so many, unfortunately, on the left are failing.